The Rennie Coolman kidnapping and murder trial continued today in the Port of Spain High Court, with Rennie Coolman once again taking the witness stand. Mr. Coolman told the court on Tuesday that he only learned a ransom was paid for his wife's release after the sum was given to her kidnappers. CNews reporter Peter Christopher spent the day at the Hall of Justice.
Defense attorney Joseph Panto was the man with the questions on Tuesday as the Rennie Coolman murder and kidnapping trial continued in the second criminal court at the Port of Spain High Court. The attorney questioned Mr. Coolman's non-involvement in the payment of a $122,000 ransom for his wife. Mr. Coolman told the court he only learnt of the payment, which was made on December 20, 2006, one day after his wife's kidnapping, from his brother-in-laws Annan and Ryan Naipaul after it was paid. Mr. Panto asked Mr. Coolman how he felt about being left out of such a decision. Mr. Coolman said, "I was neutral. I had no expectation of it." To which Mr. Panto retorted, "A ransom was paid and you were just neutral on that? How can you have no expectation?" Mr. Coolman said, "I heard about it after the fact." Mr. Coolman said he was also unaware of any plan to photocopy $50,000 of that ransom money. The witness expanded on his sentiments as Mr. Panto asked if he was at all angered by such a decision being made without him. Mr. Coolman said, "No, I did not react in a negative way. I was happy in a sense to see there was contact and there was an attempt being made." Throughout the cross-examination, the defense attorney revisited many talking points of Mr. Coolman's testimony, starting with his decision to pay a woman a bribe in an attempt to avoid being charged with his wife's murder, as well as his actions during the abduction on December 19, 2006. Mr. Panto, like attorneys before him, asked how Mr. Coolman came to the conclusion that his wife had been the victim of a kidnapping, to which Mr. Coolman said he had been aware that there were several kidnappings in the country at that time, and noted he had followed the kidnappings of Balaram Balo Maharaj and Debbie Ali in the newspapers. This prompted a further line of questions about his actions on the night Mrs. Naipaul Coolman was taken, including his decision to stand behind the wall and the failure to even pick up a knife or fork to defend himself from the gunmen. Mr. Panto suggested that his actions gave the impression that he had prior knowledge about his wife's kidnapping. He said, "On the account of this, I am suggesting to you that you had prior knowledge of this kidnapping," to which Mr. Coolman replied, "I definitely did not." The attorney went on, "I am suggesting to you that your behavior at the scene is a further indicator that you knew about this kidnapping before." Again, Mr. Coolman said, "I did not." As the cross-examination progressed, Mr. Panto's pedantic manner of questioning managed to rile up the usually calm Coolman on occasion, forcing a raise in tone or even a hasty response to his prolonged or repeated questions. State Senior Counsel Dana Sital also raised issues with Mr. Panto's cross-examination, raising objections to Justice Malcolm Holdip on several occasions. The cross-examination of Mr. Coolman will resume on Wednesday. Peter Christopher, CNews.